In Surviving Mars, your goal is to explore, extract, process resources, and manage the well-being of humanity's first permanent colonies to the Red Planet. In its DLC, Green Planet, your goal extends beyond that into successfully terraforming the red into green, opening the domes, and breathing in the Earth-like atmosphere. Both of those things sound really cool on paper, but does Surviving Mars and Green Planet live up to the hype? Here's my take. If this is the first time on my channel, welcome. I am Steven Nonsense, geek culture analyst, survival extraordinaire. I bring you RPG, strategy, and city builder reviews. Please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy what I do. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back, and remember to click that bell button, it really helps a lot. It has to be said from the get-go, Surviving Mars does a lot of things very well and only a few things not so great. In terms of setting and overall game design direction, the thing is top-notch. The art direction is rather aesthetically conservative, reflecting a more realistic and near-future approach to their technology designs, with many of the things represented in the game either already existing in some form or another, or being based in current-day technologies, prototypes, or concepts and ideas. Surviving Mars has been on my radar since before its release, considering how I am on my personal quest for cool survival city builder type games. Check the video in the corner for more on that. Surviving Mars would have been a no-brainer to play at release. Well, I can only play so many games at any one time, and unfortunately, sometimes some solid titles will simply slip past. But Surviving Mars managed to make its way onto my hard drive, and I've been playing it or at it for close to 50 hours, so I've got a tiny bit of an inkling of what the game has to offer. This particular type of game lives and dies by two aspects, as far as I'm concerned. On the one hand, it's how the devs choose to include real-world knowledge and facts about Mars, and on the other is its gameplay mechanics. On that first point, I have to say that they did a pretty solid job. Gliding past the idea of how widespread underground water and resources actually are on Mars, since that one we don't know that well, they needed some sort of resources to be gathered in order for the game to make sense. Otherwise, there are various Martian-style phenomena taking place, like sandstorms, meteorite showers, and sand does get on everything, an effect which you can both visually see on the buildings as well as in their need for maintenance. I don't know if they modeled the entirety of the Martian surface for their game, but what we do get to play with looks pretty damn convincing. Once you start terraforming the planet, and you get a decent amount of atmosphere, warmth and water, you'll start seeing spots of greenish yellow appearing on various places on the map. These could be something like moss or lichen, but I think they look more like signs of oxidizing metals. These aren't correlated with any metal deposits, but either way, it's a really nice touch in showing the gradual transition from basically no atmosphere to some atmosphere. Similarly, the more atmosphere you build on Mars, the wind turbines become more effective while the solar panels less effective. And before you reach higher levels of terraforming, the first rains you'll get will be toxic ones, since the balance of gases isn't quite right yet and you don't have enough vegetation either. They got the general look and feel of Mars pretty much as one would expect it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there are some super funny references in the game, as well as some special events that have one foot in reality and another in fiction, which goes to show that the dev team has done quite a bit of research into the history of humanity's research of Mars, and as a fan of all manner of space science, I can only tip my imaginary hat to that. As for the actual survival aspect, this is where the Martian dust starts to sting my eyes more than being sandblasted by the wind on a Danish beach. Yes, those exist. Considering how the word is prominent in the title, I would have expected the survival aspect to be much more involved. Simply being on Mars should be considered a survival challenge. Instead, in the game, it's completely glossed over. It's simply the setting. Despite the devs trying to make it look like it's a big deal, with the domes, exposed pipes for water and oxygen, and meteorite showers, it just never gets close to the environment ever feeling like any sort of threat. It's not even really hostile, to tell you the truth, despite the dust accruing on buildings and them having to be maintained constantly. There's nothing special or unique about that mechanic, it's just wear and tear. It happens in most other similar games. In this one, they just had real world reasons for it, that's it. So even though thematically the game works and it sells surviving in the title, I don't really think it pays off. What truly makes the game challenging from a point onward is colonist management, but that will only be so for a limited amount of time. What makes the game difficult after that is the colonist behavior, which is fairly mindless. Granted, this might be by design to artificially make the experience more challenging by having you micromanage a percentage of your populace, but I don't see that as a good thing. Allow me to dig deeper into this aspect since it's what annoyed me most about the game. First of all, I don't understand why every alcoholic and hypochondriac motherfucker on Earth wants to move to Mars, but goddamn. Apparently, the standards for Mars colonists go down as the technological capabilities of getting them there and keeping them alive go up. This is what happens when colonization hits the mass market, I guess. Take note, Elon. Although everything isn't forever lost in a downward spiral of booze, gambling and procrastinating, since you will reach a point where you can remove flaws from your colonists with the help of a sanatorium through hell knows what sorts of means. The game says they're humane, but regardless, you can smooth out the rougher edges. Now we get to the second major problem with your colonists, their work and living situations. In order for a colonist to function properly, they will need a place to stay and a place to work. Also, all the places they work at bring you some form of benefit, so it's a good idea for them to work. The problem is when a colonist lives in a different dome than they are working in. Which makes sense. People have been shuttling their lives away for generations in order to put food on the table. The only difference here is the shuttle it's an actual shuttle. But this generally pisses them off, which is what happens in real life as well when you're wasting solid hours of your life to go to and from work. So very realistic in this respect, splendid. My question is this: since I can reassign both their living and workplaces, why can't I link an apartment with a particular job? Once you are assigned to one, you get the other one automatically. It will still be micromanagement, but it would cut down on the tediousness of having to double check if there are either jobs or living quarters available in any particular dome. This would not only make the gameplay experience more streamlined, but it would also work in-world since the colonists do everything I tell them to. It's not like they have any sort of independently controlled will or some form of Mars official intelligence. Surviving Mars is cool, but it's nowhere near survivally enough. In order to give you a sense of progression, you discover technologies that aren't yet possible, thus taking you out of the conservative real-world near-future approach of the art direction and general start of the game. You can obviously make things harder or more challenging for yourself by tweaking the very many settings that the game offers you, which is great. It's great that the game has this very high level of customization, but my point is, something like Banished or Cliff Empire are survivally and challenging from the very beginning. You only feel the need to tweak the settings if you want to customize your particular survival challenge. Plus, let's be honest, what most of those customization options in Surviving Mars do is to exponentially increase playtime by limiting or eliminating your access to various features. Now, I'm sure that is definitely something that a portion of those playing like and maybe even wanted, but it's not the type of experience that I am looking for. But that's why I'm on this quest. There are plenty of mechanics from Surviving Mars that I'd like to see transported to other city builder survival games. Things like elevation mattering for the productivity of certain buildings, soil quality, terrain remodeling. And after putting in it close to 50 hours, I feel pretty capable of concluding that even though the game is definitely good, it's just not my particular brand of cognac. But I'm curious to know what you think about the game. Do you think I'm right, or that I've been breathing rarefied Martian atmosphere for too long? Let me know in the comments. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Steven Nonsense, and see you next time.